We're coming in hot to give you our hot takes on all the latest mental health news.
From headlines and memes to developments and breakthroughs.
We go into this show blind with the hopes of learning something new.
Before sharing some bunny hugs.
And leaving with our eyes wide open. I'm Nick.
And I'm Todd. And this is Mental Health Headline Hot Takes.
We're glad you're here. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Mental Health Headlines Hot Takes. I am Nick, and this is Todd. I never know if I'm supposed to introduce you or not. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
That's all right.
You would think after 8 episodes, we would have this figured out, but...
Tell me when.
Stop.
Todd goes first. I don't know if you like that or hate it.
Back to the norm.
Do you prefer I go first, or does it matter?
Just you always win. So I have to stop thinking of it as a competition to spin that wheel.
I don't know if I consider it winning. Okay, I'm going to do, it's kind of a more in-depth one today.
Okay.
So this is, it's called Involuntary Drug Treatment, Compassionate Intervention, or Policy Dead End by Maddie Delplaine. This is on healthydebate.com, or sorry, .ca. That means it's from Canada. It is a very, very in-depth article. I took what I could because there's too much, but so this is all about forcing people to go into addiction treatment or just leave it voluntary. So this is in Alberta, the province of Alberta here in Canada. They proposed involuntary treatment legislation. It's called the Compassionate Intervention Act, also known as Compassionate Care Act. It would be the first involuntary treatment law in Canada to target addiction specifically for adults, and would allow a family member, doctor, police officer to petition a family court for a treatment order when, quote unquote, someone is a danger to themselves or others. Over the past year and the following dismantling of the Alberta Health Services, because there's a new government, so of course they have to change everything, the province has touted its intentions to use recovery-focused approach to managing mental health and addiction. So in my province of Saskatchewan, they're doing the same thing. They're basically getting rid of all harm reduction, and they're throwing everything into treatment only because it's ethical. So it doesn't really matter if it works or not. 11 additional therapeutic communities across the province. They're creating sites would offer long-term programs that include addiction treatment as well as job training, communal living, to a mix of patients who are there presumably both voluntarily and involuntarily. Drug users can be forced into treatment after committing non-violent criminal or statutory offenses, primarily as a result of a substance use disorder. Yeah, there's a lot going on with voluntary and involuntary treatment. So some people are very, very against it. Those people, they have, there's like no proof that this actually works. Some people who have lost loved ones to addictions said it actually made matters worse. It was more shame, more guilt, more all this kind of stuff. So then they come out and they feel like crap, and off they go. I read articles too where some people were involuntarily put in because it's legal for youth right now. And they said it helped, but generally there's no proof that it actually does anything, and they're throwing a lot of money and services at it right now. They also say
so
that
what is their reason for doing it then? Like, what's their public position on it, I should say?
Well, it's kind of like, instead of a war on drugs, it's a war on addiction kind of thing. So,
but they have to
people
wrap it in some sort of messaging that would make some people go, oh.
Well, they say they're too unwell to know that they even need the help or whatever. So that's why, or if it's like creating a lot of crime. So that's why that's like police and judges can do it, or a doctor or family members can petition to get it, to have a family member involuntarily treated. But there's a doctor that's saying that treatment alone, it's very, very, very low success rate in treating addiction. So you have to have things like methadone or other prescriptions to help you through the process of in recovery, and it can take up to a year. So this is where it really gets sticky, is you can't involuntarily have people take medication. So this is why they're saying it really doesn't work, because if you're just involuntarily putting people into treatment and then you're not giving them, this treatment of medication to help them get off the drugs, it's especially not going to work. So it's like double not going to work and double make things worse. So that's the argument. Having worked in addictions, no, I kind of agree with the people that are saying, why put all your eggs in one basket? This is your basket now. It's 12-step treatment beds only, and force people into it when why not have as many options as you possibly can, so that there's no one size fits all for everybody when it comes to healing. So what the hell are you doing? But I think ideology is getting in the way myself.
Yeah, as it usually does. So what would you do? Like if you were writing this, not this policy, but you were writing a policy, what would it be?
Do more research. There's been no research at all that involuntary treatment actually does anything. So, maybe do more studies, do more research on that. Like I said, have more options as opposed to taking away options and just focusing all on there's only one type of treatment you were allowed to do. Like I said, there's no one size fits all when it comes to healing or addiction or recovery. So why not have lots of options? And yeah, I don't know, because I know some people say that it worked for them in voluntary treatment, but
it's almost like,
I don't.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Involuntary treatment, I think it's not. So correct me if I'm wrong. But do you think, or at least my take would be, as someone who is not, I mean, we're all addicted to something, right? But not a diagnosed addict. But if you involuntarily put someone into treatment and then you don't kind of give, and this isn't just involuntary, but like almost reintegration plans post-treatment, because wouldn't you, maybe I think you said this to me actually a long time ago. It's kind of like it's never over. You're never like done going through treatment, right? It's something that you deal with every second of every day. And so it's almost like if you're going to force someone into treatment, that's cool. Here's your 28 days or whatever it is. But then what? Like, they didn't want to be there in the first place. Like, where's the reintegration plan? Where's the support to help them get back into society and become, a sustained, treated, person, right?
Right. And I think for some of these treatment sites that they're saying, these 11 new sites, they are extending it beyond the 28 days. But with my experience working in addictions, having been a client going through addiction, so you get to hear honesty from clients, not just what they want to tell you. There were people in addiction treatment that were there because their job made them do it. Their wife made them do it. The law said, like, okay, you get a year off your sentence if you go do this. Of all those people, I think, so when I was in there, there's probably 8 different people that were in there for, I mean, it was voluntary, but it wasn't, it was for different reasons. Only one took it serious. The rest were like, I'm just doing this so that I get my job back. Yeah. Or, it takes a year off my sentence or whatever.
That's the problem with forced treatments, therapy, traffic school, like whatever that is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or even the DUI classes, you can go take a class. Yeah. You just do it, get it over with, do your time there. Sweet. I got my job back. I'll just hide my drinking better or my drug use better or whatever. Yeah, so right. I think it's a big ass waste of time and money. Like, if there's proven, treatments that do work, why not invest in that, as opposed to, there's no proof that this even works, so let's dump a bunch of money and policies into it. Again, I think it's ideology and yeah.
I hate when things like this become politicized instead of study-based or research-based. You know what I mean?
I do.
And there's just not like a lot of empirical evidence in this stuff to begin with. So like, why are we not using these opportunities to push research and push evidence-based things that we have or explore them further, right?
Well, and a lot of places do that, but then the government, whoever's in charge, doesn't listen to the data anyway.
Yeah,
Again,
exactly.
it's like, well, that's not ethical.
Exactly. Yeah. It's so ridiculous. It's kind of like one of these things where I just don't understand how things like this become a political issue instead of, I mean, like I said, I think if you're going to force anyone into doing anything, it's more than just a program. You need to like structure post program, right? That's kind of,
yeah. By involuntarily putting people in treatment, it's a willpower thing. You're just not doing it, and it's so much more complicated than that.
Yeah, it kind of ignores the like the medical piece of it, like the parts of your brain that don't work without it or overwork, whatever that is. You know what I mean? It's
right.
It ignores sort of the like physical piece of it.
I'm glad I cooled down a bit because I was reading the article and I was talking about hot takes. I was like, I could feel my face getting red, and it's like I chilled out before I presented it just now. So
good.
So anyway, that's my story. And again, if you want to read the article, then it'll be in the show notes there.
Yeah, that'll be the link below. What's funny is I was with some friends that I haven't seen in like a year yesterday, and they asked me like how do you? They asked me like basically like how do I live a normal life with like all of these things that I know, like I just have like so much knowledge on politics and things going on around the world, and I always feel like nobody cares about stuff like this, and it's so frustrating because it is. I have to like really compartmentalize it to like live somewhat of a normal life, but this kind of stuff, it's like, for you getting upset and feeling rage about it, totally normal, but what the fuck are you going to do? Do you know what I mean? It's and I'm not saying that in a negative way, but like sometimes you just got to remind yourself like this is just way bigger than me, and I can talk about it on my podcast episode or whatever, but you could rally others. I don't even know.
Well, I used to do that kind of stuff, organize rallies and all this stuff, and it was very unsatisfying. It was actually when I started working in addictions and talking to people one-on-one where I actually felt like I was doing any good at all. I mean, you do still need rallies and things, but some people are just better at that stuff than I am. Yeah. It would actually like affect me mentally after doing a rally. But now it's like, I work one-on-one with people, and I can actually see the change and feel like I'm actually doing something for someone. So, yeah. What you got there, pal?
All right. So mine is a little bit of a lighter story today, but more of a friendly reminder, I think. It's from News Medical Life Sciences, which is news-medical.net. Link is below. It's written by Sarah Moore and reviewed by Danielle Ellis, and it is titled "The Connection Between Vitamin D and Mental Health." The connection, so that it's a new story, but it's referencing two separate studies, one in 2017 and one in 2020 one in 2020, that have linked deficiency in vitamin D to both depression in 2017 and then in 2020 study linking vitamin D with several other mental health challenges and physical challenges, actually. So it's linked to depression and anxiety. And then once you go into some other studies, it actually deficiency is also linked to autoimmune diseases, cardiovascular diseases, certain cancers, and all of that stuff. Although those studies have been a while ago, now they're exploring the depression, anxiety, and cognitive decline from vitamin D deficiency. So I learned that I was vitamin D deficient in 2020 significantly, which is weird because I would spend, I think this is when I really started realizing that I needed to spend more time outside. And I already spent a lot of time outside, but I needed to spend like real time consistently outside instead of just like on the weekends, because the sunlight is our best source of vitamin D. Now you can supplement, and I supplement too. I do recommend people look in supplement opportunities. But what I think is interesting about this is we often ignore the obvious things that we know intuitively make us feel better, like being outside, getting sunlight into, like, literally getting sunlight through our eyes produces brain chemicals and sets your cortisone levels and releases serotonin and helps your body develop vitamin D, all of this stuff. And we seem to be spending more and more time inside, behind computers, behind phones. And you think about like kids and stuff who used to play outside all the time, go recess now at school, or recess in school, now play outside and stuff. And they're on iPads, they're on computers, they're on phones, all this stuff, right? So I think people who have lower vitamin D levels, experiencing hopelessness, sadness, anxiety, all of this stuff, I think, God, get outside. That's my message. I'm just talking in circles, but get outside. Supplement your vitamin D. The majority of people, I forget exactly how many in this study said, maybe I can find it real quickly. Number of people that are deficient in vitamin D is like crazy if you think about how essential it is to so many things. So to me, if you have feelings of anxiety and depression, I would start looking, see about getting your vitamin D tested, but I would start looking at ways to get yourself outside. Get yourself outside for like legitimate periods of time, like a 20-minute walk, or sitting outside in your patio in the morning and drinking your coffee instead of doing it behind a computer screen, or doing, whatever it is you have to have. And yeah, I don't know. I think there's so many things we can do naturally that are vital to our mental health, and we just don't look over those or review those or look into those. And if that link between depression and anxiety is partially related to a deficiency in vitamin D, like, why not start there, right? Why not make an effort to move your body, make an effort to be outside, get sunlight? And yeah, I don't know. I think it's a good place to start. And to me, it's a friendly reminder, as to why I make sure I go on 3 walks a day, at least one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and then one in the evening. And it's hard. I know some people can't just do that or don't think they can, but you can. And you just have to like take control of your schedule or your calendar or whatever, and book those times into it. And just make sure that you're getting outside, Oh, here's one other thing. I'm sorry. I wanted to share with you because I thought this was crazy. I forgot about this until I looked at my notes. 83% of people that were surveyed in a recent study said that 83% did not know the sunlight was a source of vitamin D. Like, what a disservice. I know. I don't know if I knew that when I was 15, but like I figured it out at some point. But 83% of people in this study didn't know that. That's because we don't have a good public awareness. Like, you want to talk all these articles and all these things that come up about seasonal depression and stuff, like they should be talking about this. Yeah. And I know I get that in the winter, and I'm like, I double up on my vitamin D. Mm. Mm-hmm. They do. It's like a tanning bed. Yeah. Yeah. So the article does say there needs to be more studies looking into the link between vitamin D and sort of what that link is to mental health. There's been more study linking it to physical health, but really the mental health piece is relatively new. It's studied for less than a decade, but this is the kind of thing that I read, and I get kind of feel like you were feeling in the last story, is how is this not the number one thing that we're studying right now? Why is more money goes into studying medicine than studying like human biology and why these things happen? And that frustrates me.
Mm-hmm. When there's really easy
Right. And I'm not saying
remedies.
vitamin D is a cure all for everyone who suffers anxiety, depression, or other mental health, but like, start there. Maybe you can raise your baseline. You know what I mean? And then I know with my depression, once I raised my baseline, which is very much like my walks, my supplementing, my structure. Like once I raised my baseline, the dog, once I raised my baseline, it was like, oh, okay, I actually can function a lot better on my worst days if I take these, normal things that I should be doing anyway.
You just need a coach, not a psychiatrist.
Well, precisely. I do actually believe that. That's like one thing, therapy's helped me really like put structure around stuff and develop those like sort of like a toolkit to know when I'm spiraling. Like I was yesterday, and I ended up going to, just I took my scooter for a ride. I went and walked around. I got stimulation. I went to the lake, Lake Michigan, all that stuff. So it's kind of, you know what to do to kind of get that. And then of course my walks are super important.
Did you take your dog on the scooter?
No, he would I would end up, no. It's a standing like.
Oh, I see. I see. Yeah.
I would
Gotcha.
I would put it maybe in a backpack, but.
All right. Well, that's very good advice, and another hot take. If you have any questions, concerns, let us know. Look in the show notes. Feel free to watch episodes on YouTube under Eyes Wide Open, which is Nick's channel. And let us know if you have any articles you want us to check out. So, this is Todd Rutterbaum
signing off. Peace. This has been our mental health headline hot takes.
We're so glad you came.
Remember, when you heal yourself,
you heal the world.
Be sure to like this video, leave comments, and suggest articles for future episodes.
Hit subscribe to Eyes Wide Open
and Bunny Hugs and Mental Health.